Despite the Cowboys publicly saying they want to sign Dak Prescott to a long-term contract extension, reports say that both sides are at an impasse, and the franchise tag looks, quote, inevitable. We have a new twist, though. When asked about it last week, Dak said he likely won't show up this offseason without a deal, saying, quote, be sure to report that. So, Shannon,
here we go.
what does this tell you?
Tell me what I've been telling Skip Bayless all along. I've been trying to tell you this, Skip. I told you this day was coming. I foretold of this story. Skip, you know this, Skip. I don't care how nice a person is, every man has a breaking point. Now, you keep that, and Dak's like, whoa, what's the holdup? You had last offseason, you had during the season, and we still don't have a deal done. Now, you keep telling me, I'm your guy. What's going on? I don't see nothing. I see better than I hear. You telling me I'm your guy, but I don't see no contract. You started this, Skip, and I told you they started sowing poison seeds at the combine. Skip, if I got a house for sale, I list the house for $10 million. People come in and see it. Now, if I want to cut them a deal and say, okay, you know what? You the first one to show up, I sell it for $9 million. That's my choice. But don't you come in asking for no discount off the top. It's mine. They come in off the top before we even negotiated, Jenny.
Yeah.
You asking for a discount. There's a reason. Skip, when last time you saw a Four Seasons or a Ritz-Carlton hotel room on discount? Because this is what we know about discounts. If you start giving people discounts, they'll expect discounts forever.
Yep.
So they said, no, we're not going to start that. We're not going to start that bad precedent. You want a discount, go to Dollar Tree. You go to Dollar General. They give you discounts. But at here, we high end, bro. Pay retail. Skip Bayless, I told you this was coming. Y'all keep y'all ticking Dak off. And ain't nothing like old man Dak. Old Mississippi. Oh, he from Louisiana. But he spent a lot of time in Mississippi. And Dak getting upset with you guys.
Yep.
Because y'all keep jerking him around, Skip, because y'all keep saying he's your guy. But Dak is saying, y'all playing me like Kirk Cousins. Y'all playing me to the left. So y'all leave me no choice but to play you to the right. Now print that.
Print that. Okay, it is my turn.
Yes.
By the way, before I launch on this, the last time you foretold of something, Jimmy G was going to be the MVP of the Super Bowl. That's the last foretelling of yours.
That was a couple days ago.
Just for the record.
I mean, Skip,
Foretold.
let me ask you a question.
You're a seer.
How many weathermen lose their jobs? They wrong all the time.
Yeah, that's true.
I was wrong once.
Oh, one time.
One time this
well,
year.
you're not going to forget it, so.
It might have been a big time, but it was just once.
So you're in all your glory because the guy you picked against in the Super Bowl is now on top. So you're back driving my homeboy's bandwagon, and you're going to drive that bandwagon right through the locker room wall of my Dallas Cowboys because dissension is mounting. We've got issues in our locker room.
Oh, you finally see it now.
Finally, our quarterback basically just declared war on my owner. That's what he did. It was a declaration of war. Print that. I won't be around. Well, that's way out of character for this young man, who I've told you is becoming one of the great leaders in sports. And I don't love it. And I don't love the predicament and situation that Dak Prescott and his agent are finding themselves in. So yesterday was the first day after Super Bowl week. I had some time to make some calls about this because we were just covered up in Super Bowl and then the Kobe tragedy, and it was a long, hard week in Miami. It was a great week, but I just didn't have time to make these calls. So I went to all my sources in and around this situation, and this is what I was told. You have your sources, now I have a few of my own. Most people on the perimeter of this story believe that Todd France, the agent, is overplaying his hand, but they have some sympathy for him because right now, we're not sure where the salary cap is heading. There are projections that the cap that was $188 this year is going to go a little north of $200 million for next year, 201, according to several reports. Well, that's a pretty big leap for a team. And remember, the CBA, collective bargaining agreement, is up after next season.
Correct.
So, again, they could lock heads, lock horns. And I don't know what's going to come out of that.
Right.
Could the cap go up significantly again? It could.
Yes.
Could the rules kind of change?
Especially if they add that 17th game.
If they add the 17th game, it could go significantly
Way
up. So I believe from everything I've been told that Todd France believes he's stuck right now because the last thing he wants, he's a very good agent. He's got Aaron Donald, DeAndre Hopkins, other stars. You don't want to take a deal now that seems really good until you project it into the next 2 years of future and it suddenly gets rendered obsolete by what's about to happen.
Because they're projecting the league's revenue, Skip, to be upwards of $25 billion by 2027.
Okay? So if you're negotiating by now standards, they're asking for absurd dollars that even you, if you had the offer in front of you, you'd say, oh, come on.
Yeah.
Really? Seriously? And right now, Jerry and Steven are saying, seriously? But if you look into the future, not knowing what the future is going to bring, and if you look at what Mahomes is going to get, and I assume it's going to happen this offseason.
Probably going to be next.
Do you?
Really?
Yeah.
Wait
Well, I would
another
think
year?
they would try to, I just don't know if you'd take, they're going to offer, I would guess, something that would be extraordinary.
You got $200 million with $40 million average.
All right, will they
You
do
got that laying around?
Okay, well, so that's going to happen.
Yeah.
And do I think Dak is Mahomes in value? I do not. I do not.
Deshaun?
Okay, okay. So all of a sudden it's going to
Three
go
dominoes.
up, way up.
Correct.
And the agent in particular does not want to get stuck sort of holding a bad bag, right?
Because guess what happens, Skip? Other agents will use that against him because there are more college players coming out, and they're going, he signed a bad deal for that.
Sure.
Everybody knows that the cap is going up. It's been going up on the average of, what, 10%, 15% a year, and he took a deal as if the cap wasn't going to go up, so they'll use that against him. So he knows what he's up against. Not only is he up against Jerry Jones, but he's up against other agents bad-mouthing him about the contract he gets Dak.
Yeah. So I've said this many times about Jerry Jones, around whom I've spent thousands of hours, at least hundreds of hours. He can be dumb. He can say dumb things, but he ain't stupid.
Right.
And when it comes to matters of money, he really ain't stupid because he's really smart.
Yeah.
And he knows how to manipulate the cap, and he knows what works. And he's had a long history of overpaying players he loves, and I believe he loves Dak Prescott. I believe he does not love that quote from Dak from yesterday.
Yeah.
But remember, in the end, he and Zeke started to go at it before he gave Zeke the biggest deal any running back's ever gotten.
Yep.
So it is part of the process. I just didn't want to hear that from the leader of my team because I do not consider Ezekiel Elliott the leader of my football team. So Zeke's had off-field incidents. We know that. So in his context, if he wants to take shots at Jerry or vice versa, I'm okay with that. I'm not okay with this because it's beneath the dignity of my quarterback.
Because here's the thing, though, Skip. Having talked to Dak a little bit, this is so far, he is so mild-mannered. He is so, I'm going to say everything that's right because I understand how to play this game as a quarterback. So it tells you that he's really frustrated because you keep saying we're going to get a deal done. He's like, you had all last offseason.
We never hear
You had
something
the
like
entire season to get this deal done. And plus another guy that's going to be coming up down the pipeline, Skip, Lamar Jackson. He's going to be coming down the pipeline to get a boatload of money.
All right.
So, and plus, Skip, you don't want to be, okay, let's just say for the sake of argument, Dak takes $33 million a year with $100 million. Okay, and here comes Deshaun. Deshaun gets 37 with 120. Wow, wait a minute. Agent's going to point to that. That's a bad deal. He's going to lose clients because of that, Skip.
Wow.
The reason why you get clients is Drew Rosenhaus. You can say whatever you want to say. But guys are still going to Drew because he gets big dollars. You might not like how he goes about it and he takes some of the bad apples, but he gets them paid. So he understands what he's up against. The cap's going to go up. He's like, even if it doesn't go up this year, guess what's going to happen with that new CBA? And there's streaming services, Apple, Amazon, talk about they made $15 billion on YouTube ads alone. You know that, Skip, now you don't think the NFL will put games on Amazon or Apple? You're fooling yourself. They'll put it on your TV. Let you pay, Skip Bayless. You got $8 million over there? Because you know how the NFL works, Skip Bayless. They're about dollars.
Found a way.
And I'm with you in principle on this because in spirit, I want them all to get way more than they get. But there is a cap unless they can fight successfully in the next CBA to eliminate the cap. If you can get that done,
Owners will never do that.
ooh, Okay, well, I'm
A
just
few
saying.
owners, a few owners will. Jerry's like, okay, do away with it.
Yeah,
Sure.
He would, because he's got Steinbrenner in him, and he just say, well, I'll just outbid all of you.
Exactly.
Right?
Yes.
Unlimited funds.
Like he always says, you wouldn't believe the check I would write to win another Super Bowl.
Exactly.
Well, then if you take the cap off, literally.
But Skip, hold on. You say he a businessman, and you say they always find a way to manipulate the cap. Would Dak say manipulate the cap in my favor? So you manipulate it in your favor, not manipulate it in my favor.
So what do I know about Dak Prescott? He's a tough young man. He's got a strong backbone. And it's why I love him as a quarterback, because he's a playmaker. He didn't make enough plays this past year, but he put up big numbers. And he's been pushed into a corner, and I'm sure he's got an agent in his ear who he believes in,
Of course.
trusts.
Yes.
And the agent is saying, no, 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 we've got to fight. We got to dig in and fight.
Right.
And now I've got the quarterback of my team threatening to miss an off-season program featuring a brand new head coach.
How many teams make the Super Bowl, Skip, when the quarterback holds out? And I told you, I said, now, if the quarterback, Kellen Moore, if he's calling plays, because if you go back and look at all the West Coast coaches that's gotten head coaching jobs, from Mike Shanahan to John Gruden, yada, 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 how many of them you know, Skip, go to a new team and leave said offense in place? They might leave said defense in place, especially if they got a good DC. But they're not leaving that offense.
Yeah.
And it tells me that they're anticipating Dak holding out because they're going to franchise him because this thing's not getting done. But then it's going to get really contentious because if it's not a long-term deal, it's not agreed to by July 15th, guess what? There's no choice but to play up under that tag.
They are going to try to keep the terminology the same, but the more I read, the more I hear, Mike McCarthy is going to assert himself here. He's going to impose some of his new will on this offense, so it will change in fairly significant ways, except for terminology.
Right.
Just in case the quarterback isn't there, so that he can slide back in when they get the deal.